Hello, everyone. My name is Katie. I've got the camera out already, Jesus Christ. My name is Katie. I'm 24. I'm an NLP master. I'm basically a mindset coach. I do subconscious reprogramming, unlimited beliefs, self-sabotage, all that kind of thing. And yeah, today I'm going to tell my story, and then I'm going to just provide you with a little bit of insight into the subconscious mind and how it literally is unconsciously holding you back without you consciously realizing it. And it's why a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck at certain levels. They self-sabotage and they stay stuck for months, and that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just a bit about me first. So I own two businesses at the moment, or you could say one business, Internal Glow Up, which is my product business, which is journals and productivity planners. And then Internal Glow Up Academy is my one-to-one business, which is where we NLP coach entrepreneurs, actors, athletes, coaches, all that jazz. That was me, and I'll get to the story now. So my story, I was that kid that grew up in school, and I was always different to everyone else. Like, you go to school, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs will relate to this, like you feel different, like you feel like you don't belong in school. All the girls were really popular, really got all the attention from the guys, and I was that girl that was oh shit, wrong way. That was horse riding, or I would spend my breaks revising. Everyone else would be out flirting with the guys. I would be working, or I'd be doing musical theatre 3 times a week. I love food. That was me. Did a West End show, and when all the girls at 13 years old got their belly buttons pierced, I asked my dad if I could have a gecko called Gecky, and that's how I always knew that I was different. And he actually lost his tail, but. Because, no, for real, he lost his tail because he hung, basically, in the wild, if a bird comes, why the fuck am I talking about gecko? In the wild, if a bird goes and picks a gecko up by the tail, their tail drops off so they can run away. So I think he must have got his tail caught on a stick in his little house, and then it dropped off, and I woke up next time. I was like, Jesus Christ, he's gone. But yeah, that's how I knew I was different. I knew I was always inherently meant for more. I always had that desire. I'm such a dreamer. TED Talks, big stages, you name it. That's the big goals for me. I have a lot of big personal goals that I want to achieve. So I felt like I never really fit in at school. As a result of not fitting in, I tried to be like the popular girls. All the popular girls were, in my perception, again, it's all perception, were really pretty. They got a lot of attention from the guys. I didn't, because I was a nerd. I was the one who was different. I wasn't cool. So then I learned losing weight. Oh, it's bloody fantastic. You start getting loads of attention. You start getting, you start feel like you fit in. And it was the only way that I thought I could ever be happy and good enough. So I lost weight, and it gets addictive, because again, you're chasing the feeling of being good enough. I'm good enough, I'm good enough, more, 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 more. But obviously we know that losing the weight, making money, whatever, never fills a void. So I lost weight. I ended up having an eating disorder, which I kept private for a year. Didn't tell anyone that I had an eating disorder. Didn't even tell my mum and dad. And it got to a point when I was doing my A-levels, it really impacted me. And I literally remember on the way to school, quote unquote, hitting rock bottom. And I just wrote a letter to my mum and dad saying how much I was struggling. I've had an eating disorder. This is what an eating disorder is. Please don't judge me, as if they would judge me. But I had so much shame around it, and I was really struggling at school. I would walk around school on my own. I would literally just keep myself to myself. And then that's when my journey to self-development started. So I opened up to them, and then they were like, right, cool, we'll get you to therapy. So I went to open therapy, and you pull up to it was like an in-person therapist. I pull up, vulnerable as shit, and I go, ready to see a therapist. Oh, we'll put you on the waiting list for 6 months. I was like, 6 months? I cannot live like this for another 6 months. So fortunately, Dad took me private. And as I started therapy, I started learning a lot about my mind and self-worth. And therapy is I don't know if you've had therapy, but it's great, you talk about it, but nothing really shifts, does it? You talk about it, you're now aware of your problems, you're now aware that Dad left you when you're younger, and now that's why you're struggling and all of this, but nothing really changes. But anyway, it did help in a sense. And I created a YouTube, fuck, I need to breathe. I created a YouTube series called 10 Ways to Shift Your Mindset for an Internal Glow Up, and it was all about journaling, getting to know yourself, like overcoming problems and whatever, everything that I learned in therapy. And this was at school. No one knew about my eating disorder, and I launched this in my hometown. I launched a YouTube channel. I launched this. And I put it out there, and obviously everyone from school sees it, and I absolutely shit myself because obviously no one from school knew. I just looked like I had it all together because I'd lost weight and I had this fake confidence about me. And I had hundreds of messages. Girls from school, surprisingly, the popular ones. I've also been struggling with this as well. I've just told my mum about this. Thank you, I'm going to go to therapy as well. It makes me feel less alone. And I was like, boom, that's my purpose. So I also knew that I wanted to start a business, and I was like, oh, what the fuck do I do? Like, what business? Sorry, I swear a lot. I'm really sorry. So someone said to me, your business is right in front of you. Because I used to journal about what life would be like without an eating disorder, which is so sad for a 17-year-old. But that's generally like, I've always been like an ambitious person in order to get out of a problem. Like, you give me an eating disorder, I will get out of it. Like, you know, and I learned so much. And so I created my first journal, which again was called Shift Your Mindset for an Internal Glow Up, hence where the brand name comes from, Internal Glow Up. So launched that, sold 30 copies on the first night, some of them from school. And, you know, I felt famous in my hometown. It was great. And then since then I started a journal club, which is where I charge people £10 a month, and I was like, come on a journal club call on a Sunday morning and we'll all journal together, and I loved it and it was great. Don't do that anymore, but we got about 100 people on every Sunday, which was great. And then I went to university. I studied neuroscience and psychology, because I was like, I wanted to be a therapist, but I was like, I don't want to spend 7 years studying therapist to then only earn 100 grand a year and then talk to people about their problems and just sit in a problem. It just was not for me. And I was like, there's got to be something out there mindset wise that's really impactful and really like truly life changing. So I studied neuroscience, psychology. I loved that. And at the same time as I was doing that, I ran my product business. That video is meant to play. It's basically one night on TikTok, I put this video on it and it blew up. And I remember waking up at 3 a.m. and I was like, you know, somebody just wakes you up and you know, I need to check my phone. Don't know why. And I checked my phone to hundreds of orders. And it was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, business is so fun. So I created, so that was my e-commerce business. And I was doing that during university. And I was very much like everyone out drinking. I still drank a lot, but like everyone would go to clubs. I was more of a bar girl. But I would get up at 5 a.m, do my product business, go to university 9 till 5, study, then go to the gym. And that was literally my life. And then I was like, oh, I want more. So it came to the end of university, and all of those problems of not feeling enough were still there inside of me. And this was 2023, so I was 23, which I'm 24 now. And it got to the end of university, and I was like, sorry, I've lost my word there. I got to the end of university, I graduated, and I was like, I wanted to become a mindset coach, so I wanted to do NLP. But I had the biggest fear of failure I've ever known anyone to have, like future anxiety. I never believed that I would truly be successful. I never believed that I'd be rich. I never believed that I would make it, but I always knew I had the potential. And if any of you struggle with self-doubt, it is one of the most frustrating feelings of knowing you've got the potential, but it's like, you're not good enough. You won't do it. It won't work. And then you procrastinate. You write your long to-do list. You leave everything to the last minute. You stay busy to feel successful. I used to go to coffee shops and I'd film myself pretending to work on my laptop just to feel successful because I wanted it so bad, but I did not believe that I was good enough. So anyway, that was my biggest problem, was my fear of failure. So I actually invested into an NLP master. Oh my God, it fucking changed my life. We went back to the event at which I first took on that belief. So through NLP, you basically get the root belief that's holding you back. So my biggest belief was I'm not good enough. You close your eyes and you, through subconscious reprogram, I'm not going to explain the process because it's a bit bizarre, but it's incredible. You go back and you see visually the event that you took that belief on. And it was me when I was 14, step turning in a dance hall thinking, I'm not good enough to be here, everyone else is better than me. And I went back and I looked at that event from the adult of today in a visualization and I went, how the fuck do you think you're not good enough? Of course you're good enough. And I had this massive breakthrough. And from that moment, I went all in. Like, I had so much conviction. I was like, of course I'm good enough. Of course I'm going to make it. And left university, went all in on mindset coaching, had 3 months to make it work. If I didn't make it work, I'd have to move back home. So I got my dream apartment in 3 months. I danced in New York. I was the youngest on the plane. I ran and sold out an event within 4 months of starting mindset coaching. And my mindset for selling that event out was, it's sold out already, it's done. Of course it's sold out. I even went to the venue and made a video about, I've sold this event out and I'm making a video about selling this event out and it hasn't even sold out yet, but that's how much self-belief I have. And from a girl who never had self-belief, that is the best feeling in the world, to have that true conviction. Had an amazing community and all of that jazz. And in 10 months, I went from £3 in my bank account, because I invested in my mindset coach, to a multi-six-figure business, and travelled, spoke at 11 events. It was just incredible. Then I hit a new level, and a lot of you will hit this, where you get to a level in your success and then you're like, fuck, I can't hold this. And you had this anxiety, you had this fear, and all in my mind, all I could see, because I grew so fast, all I could see was, if I carry on, I'm going to lose it all, and I'm going to be alone, and I'm going to be sad. And that was, again, another thing that I had to work on through NLP. It was basically like, okay, if you go all in and you lose it all, it will just confirm that you're a failure. So again, we take that belief, we shift it subconsciously, which makes it safe to go all in. And then I pushed through and ran a big event in London last year. I convinced 130 people to travel to central London to run a big mindset event, which was a huge success. And that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. So yeah, that's my story so far. But again, like my mindset allowed me to collapse time, because if you spend 50% of your week in doubt, you're spending 50% of your week in procrastination, in comparison, in scrolling, which is the emotion in your business, for example, which is you can't move forward. So the minute I shifted the belief that was driving that doubt, that was driving the emotion, is the minute I flew. And the gap between who I was showing up as and who I was dreaming of closed, and I just became her. Like, I was just her. But I was never that girl that could just get on with it and like, fuck your emotions. I never was that girl. I was, I did struggle a lot with my mindset. So that was amazing. So I just want to talk a little bit about subconscious mind. I'm just going to give a few examples. There is tons of examples. Like, I work with actors, I work with athletes. There's so many different examples that I can give, but I've tried to pick 4 out today that's going to hopefully relate to you in some case. It might not relate to you today. You might think, what the fuck is she talking about? I don't have any mindset issues. But I'm sure in 2 years' time you'll think, oh, Katie was right, because it always does come out in the end, which is fine. So your limiting beliefs, basically you take on your limiting beliefs when you're 0 to 7 years old. A lot of people don't actually know where limiting beliefs come from. You're just like, oh, my mum was a perfectionist and then that's why I struggle so much. But it's all unconscious. You won't consciously remember where you took on a limiting belief. So basically, when you're younger, between 0 and 7, you're like a sponge. You don't understand things, so you make everything mean something about you to make sense of it. So, for example, if someone, no, never mind. So, it went. So, for example, let's just say that when you were younger, when you were 7 years old, mum and dad were arguing, right? You don't go as a 7-year-old, oh my God, mum and dad are arguing, they've had such a terrible day at work, they're stressed, and parents argue. You don't do that. You make this thing called a limiting decision, which is unconscious. You decide that they're arguing because of you, and therefore it's your fault, and therefore you're not good enough. You take that belief on, and then that belief runs the show for the rest of your life. Let's just say you get picked last at netball in school. You don't think, oh, I get picked last because I don't actually care about netball and I'm not that bothered about it. You make it mean something about you as a kid. Of course you do, because we have to make sense of things. And you go, oh, I've been picked last because they don't like me. So now in your business, when a client leaves, you don't go, oh, the client's left because you go, oh, it's me. And it's literally the same scenarios that you're playing out now. It's just from the same scenarios playing out from childhood. So you take that belief on. So another one I see a lot of business owners struggle with is, I can't handle it, overwhelm. And it often comes back from GCSEs, A-levels. Like, if you felt this overwhelming feeling of like, I can't handle this workload or whatever that is, you take that belief on, I can't handle it, that's stored in your body and your mind. So now when the business grows, that belief gets triggered because you're reliving your past, it's part of you, and then you can't handle it. It's just a belief. You can handle it, you just return to that default state. So you take it on, and then again, you find evidence to support your beliefs. Just like I said, it'll be the same in business. You'll have an emotional response and whatever. But then your perception of reality is through the lens of this belief. So for example, I'm not good enough. Oh, that my partner's just left me, therefore I'm not good enough. Oh, the client's just left me, therefore I'm not good enough. You make it mean something about you because you believe that about yourself. Or you have a setback in business and then you start procrastinating or you start scrolling. It's like, because I'm not good enough. It was never to do with the fact that you weren't good enough. You've just returned to your default state of mind. And you always behave in a way that supports it. So I'm just taking the belief again, I'm not good enough. When things go well in business, for example, you'll have this mindset, oh, I can do anything, oh my God, let's go, da, da, da. And then you'll receive one setback and then that triggers this belief and you're like, oh, I can't do it, it's not gonna work, I'm not good enough. And then you flit in between the state of, I'm good enough, I can do it, I'm not, doubt, da, 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 da. So the minute you shift that belief, that's when you go all in, it's incredible. So that's that, cool. So this is just, that's more like fear of failure, but fear of success, which I assume that a lot of you will also struggle with if you've already got an established business. You're on the cusp of success. So like, you know consciously what your next level is. Like, you know that you've got to hire that person, or you know that, you know, you've got to get those amount of clients. But then you start self-sabotaging, you start delaying doing outreach, you start not looking after yourself, you stop showering, you start sitting in doubt or out of nowhere. And it's like, where's this coming from? And then you stay in that level for months. But it's because your subconscious behind the scenes is running the show, it's running the show, it's running the show, it's running the show. And it's keeping this level because it's safe and it's aligned with your beliefs. So you know what is next. If I put a gun to your head and said, right, what's the next decision in business, you would know. A lot of you would be like, oh, I don't know, I haven't got time, or whatever. Like, all these ego excuses to make yourself feel better for staying stuck, but you do know your subconscious is working against you. And that is why business feels so horrible, because consciously you know it, but your subconscious is like, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing this, we're not doing this. So when you remove these beliefs, it makes it a lot smoother. But so you want your next level, but your subconscious does not. And you'll feel it, you'll know when you're doing it. So I like to call these subconscious parts. Well, it's not mine. I acted as if I'd made this method up. It's not my method. But I just like to visualize them as little stick men because it helps you, because mindset's quite hard. It's all unconscious, you don't know what the fuck's going on in there. So I'm just going to go through 4 examples to hopefully help you understand yourself. And maybe you might be like, oh, I do that. And you know, you might go away next week and be like, I'm self-sabotaging now. And that will just help you move through it. I do normally do visualizations in the event, but normally my events are predominantly female, and females are a bit more open to the mindset work than the men. I do work with some men, but I thought I'm not going to take you through a visualization today, so I'm just going to talk about the concept of it. And if you want to do a visualization, then you know where to come. So let's just say the fear of being overwhelmed. So you've got you, right? Everything's going well. You can feel yourself growing, right? Everything's going well. You're growing, whatever. You inherently have a part of you. Now, all of these might not relate to you. Some of you might not struggle with overwhelm, but some of you might struggle with something else. So switch off if it doesn't relate, whatever. So you're going all in, right? And then you have a part of you that deep down does not believe that you can handle more success. Like, it does not believe it. So everything will be going well, but this part, as everything's going well, will be working behind the scenes to self-sabotage you without you even realizing. So it'll go, right. So here's me, here's Katie, I'm Katie, then have this overwhelmed part, and it'll go, Katie, just add a few more things to your to-do list. Even though you've done them, just add a few more things. And now I want you to start scrolling in the morning. I also want you to start going to bed really late. Also, we're not going to go to the gym today because we're a bit tired. Don't get up early, start eating a bit of rubbish. Boom, before you know it, you're in a state of overwhelm. And this part has been running the show behind the scenes for the past 4 days. So you're now in a state of overwhelm, and when you're overwhelmed, you procrastinate. You have to procrastinate because it's so uncomfortable. You scroll, you go and do tasks that aren't productive, that don't move you forward, and then that's when you stay in this level. Because basically the overwhelmed part is coming in as going, look, you're overwhelmed now, so if we go into the next level, how the hell are you going to handle more overwhelm? If you cannot handle overwhelm now, you cannot handle your level of success now, how the hell are you going to handle more success? So overwhelm is coming in to protect you from more overwhelm. And that's why you always self-sabotage. When things are going well, it's like, boom, overwhelm kicks in. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. It's like you perform the behaviors over the past 4 days that have got you into a state of overwhelm. Does that make sense? Yeah, kind of? Cool. This is a big one, fear of judgment, imposter syndrome. Who here puts a camera in the face and then goes, Yeah, Leandro, cool, thanks. Yes, and it's literally a block. Mind blank, block in your throat. Right, your subconscious is like, so you know what you want to say, and you'll be like, oh, I don't know what to say. People come to you, I don't know what to say, I don't want content to write. Yes, you fucking do. You know what you're doing, you talk to your clients about it. As soon as the camera's put in your face, your mind goes blank, and you block, right? Your subconscious is like, if you say that, and you get it wrong, that is going to confirm what we believe about ourselves, which is, I'm not smart enough, I'm not knowledgeable enough. So it's not that you don't know what to say, it's that you inherently fear the judgment of not being smart enough and not being knowledgeable enough. And when your business is based on knowledge and, you know, sharing value, that's why the mind blank comes in. So it's protecting you from saying what you want to say. Now, if you think about it, if you remove those beliefs and you said what you wanted to say and you were bold and you were direct and you were authoritative, how much more business would you bring in? Loads more. So shifting those beliefs is unbelievable. Who do I think I am? You want to say something, you want to, you know, playing into your success as an entrepreneur is one of the biggest things that brings you in more success. Like, there's so many people that downplay their achievements, have had an incredible body transformation or they've had incredible success in their business and they're like, oh no, like, da, da, da. But it's like, if you own that and because you have achieved it, you know, you bring in more, people are attracted to it, but you won't do it because you had that little imposter voice, probably from school when you didn't feel like you belonged or you felt like the underdog. You've got the external success, but the internal is still the same as when you were a boy at school or a girl at school and you never felt like you deserved success, or who do you think you are? So that voice comes in and goes, who do you think you are? Don't say that. So then instead of saying what you want to say, you then just make yourself a shell of yourself and just say something else. And then the last one is like, I'm not liked, I don't belong. Trying to fit in, like what I did, trying to be someone you're not. And I always think about it is like, let's just say that two people in this room walk into the room, one have a belief that I belong here and one has a belief that I don't belong here. Your two perceptions of this event will be so different. The person, let's just say someone walks past you, the person who believes that they belong will go, oh, they're just walking past because they're getting a drink. The person who believes that they don't belong will go, they're walking past, they just ignored me, I don't belong, I should go home. Yeah, your perception of the room, your perception of the event, for example, is so different because of what you believe. And it's like your beliefs are impacting you like all the freaking time. And then the last one that I want to go over, I think, is another one of fear of success. There's so many angles of fear of success, but the fear of losing it all, the fear of losing time, the fear of losing relationships. If one of your, as humans, one of our biggest values, unconsciously, whether you like to admit it or not, is love, is freedom. And obviously, as you get more successful, you push people away. Maybe you get a bit stressed, you're not the best partner, or maybe you don't have that freedom that inherently you need as a human. You'll notice that you'll start self-sabotaging on your growth because you'll have an internal conflict that comes in, and you'll be going to achieve more success, and then you'll stop and you might become indecisive, you might start overthinking everything. And it's basically like this part is like, well, now you have to choose between success or time with your family. The reason why you have to choose is because in your mind, those two are separate, because you believe you can't have it all, right? It's a belief. I can't have it all. I can't have both. So in your mind, that belief creates a perception of these two things being separate. So that's why you self-sabotage, because you're compromising on two of your values. So what we do in NLP is we integrate those subconsciously. And again, like if I have more success, I'll lose time. Another one, people become very stressed and they generally don't believe that they're a nice person. So when they get more successful, they get more stressed, and then they start pushing their partner's way, and then that triggers that belief, I'm not a nice person, and they sabotage their goals because you don't want to lose the person you love, for example, or whatever that is. Yeah. Oh, one more. And then the fear of failure. There are so many different parts. Like if I'm Katie, I am self. So self is when you're confident, when you're calm, but then we all have different parts of us. So like fear of imposter part, fear of judgment part, people pleasing part, overdoing to clients, burning yourself out because you need to please. You know, it's all coming from childhood and playing out in your business without you even realizing it. But then the other part that I want to just speak about is the fear of failure, and it's the fear that you will probably go all in 80%, but you'll never go the 20%, because if you go the 20%, that means you've given it your all. And if you give it your all and then you fail, it confirms that you're not good enough. So you go all in at 80%, and then you blame the rest of not going all in on the fact that you didn't have time, you're too busy with things, and your priorities aren't straight. I mean, priorities, time, not knowing enough are all variables that can be manipulated. You can make more time and, you know, you can do whatever, but it's basically this part of you is like, just please don't go all in. I'm going to get you to doubt yourself. I'm going to get you to write those really long to-do lists. I'm going to get you to do a full sense of productivity. I'm going to get up really early, and then be really productive, and then you sabotage the next day because you're too burnt out to work. Brilliant, we haven't gone all in, because if you go all in and you fail, it's going to mean something about you. So again, you start shifting the beliefs of these parts, you literally unlock those emotional blocks, the doubt, the fear, the anxiety, the self-sabotage, and that's what allows you to go all in. And often than not, a lot of you will probably change your strategy at different levels, and you'll be like, I need to change my strategy when it's not working, when actually it's you that's not working. Not working, that's a bit harsh, but do you know what I mean? So yeah, so basically that's pretty much it. We just get to the limiting beliefs of these parts, the root belief. We find where they're coming from childhood, we shift those, and then whatever you were previously self-sabotaging on, you just won't self-sabotage anymore because you don't have the belief. It's gone, you know? So you change your beliefs, you change your thoughts, you change your feelings, you take action. Beliefs, thoughts, feelings, action, always. Everything roots from a belief. I think that's about it. Anyone got any questions? If anyone's got any questions on any of it, then please do ask. Sorry, Josh, not yet. I'm still having a moment. God, I'm joking.
Hi. So when you had your limiting belief, right, what was that turning point for you that when you started to work on it, right, to kind of get rid of it? What actually happened?
So this is why mindset is seen as, oh my God, incredible. This is why mindset's quite woo-woo, because a lot of people in the mindset space are like, just do affirmations and just do. If I stare at the mirror and go, I'm good enough, and this voice is like, no, you're fucking not, no, you're fucking not. You can't change a belief through just talking to it. Like, you believe it, like it's a belief. So you have to go back. It's through NLP. Like, it's honestly the way. Like, obviously I'd say that, but it is incredible. You have to subconsciously go back to when you took on that belief. In childhood, there's loads of different like techniques and stuff that you can do in NLP, but you go back to where you took on that belief and you see it in a different lens as the adult of today. So let's just say that your younger self, when dad left, you took that belief on as, I'm not loved, I'm not important enough for him to stay. When you go back subconsciously, you go back as the adult of today, you look down through visualization on that event and you go, oh no, dad left because he wasn't getting along with mom, and that's what parents do, or dad left because he couldn't face his emotions, that's his problem, whatever. It was nothing to do with me. And then you remove that belief, that block, and you have a breakthrough, and oh, it's just unbelievable. Yes?
I definitely agree with you, because at the start of this year, just with the way the business grew, I had an NLP therapist, and it was honestly the best thing I did.
Yes, yeah, it's incredible. Yes.
So I've been working with you for 2 months, and genuinely you've changed my life.
Can someone record this?
Like stuck, if anyone is stuck, like speak to Katie. But my biggest thing so far has been like overwhelmed. So I've massively changed. Like, I had to-do lists, and I was finding that I had to-do lists, and I had 10 of them, and a lot of these tasks were like on each one. So it was no wonder. But like, other than moving forward and like financial, moving my business forward, like what would you say is the biggest thing for people owning a business, other than just growing their business, that changes for them?
It's like finding out, because a lot of people when you grow your business and stuff, like you do hit levels, like you'll say it, you're like, oh, I'm stuck at this level, or you'll have like in your mind, you might genuinely see like a ceiling in your mind. A lot of people will get to a certain income and then they'll stay stuck at that income. And I always ask them, I'm like, if we were to go past that income, so let's just say that's, I don't know, from 60k to 100k a month, X amount more clients, what bad things would happen? Not good things, because we know that's great. What bad things would happen? And they'll go, oh, just burn out. Boom, that's the block. That's why you're not going to that next level, because your body and your subconscious is anticipating burnout. And as you're human, you're not meant, why would your body drive you to take action to do that? So I would just say is like, when you're self-sabotaging, just ask yourself, what is genuinely bad about my next level? Like, ask yourself, sit with yourself, what is bad about my next level subconsciously? Consciously, it's great, you get a car, you get this, you get more clients, you get more recognition. What's bad about it? Some people have like a fear of losing themselves, or a fear of judgment or arrogance or anything, and it's like you'll sabotage to stay relatable. Like, there's so many different angles to this, but it's just exploring. It's like, why am I actually not growing? And people say, I'm stuck, and then you ask, well, are you doing the work that would grow? No, I'm avoiding lead gen, I'm avoiding showers. I've had people come to me and they're like, I haven't showered in days, or like, I'm not eating or whatever, because they get to a point where they're that burnt out. And I know a lot of you will be laughing, but you probably think, fucking, I've done that. And because they get to a point where they're that burnt out, and I'm like, and that's why you're avoiding it, because your mind now associates more success with that because of what you believe about it. So yeah, I'd just say, like, get your mindset, get your subconscious on board with your goals. The resistance is gone. You fly. It's unbelievable. So yeah. Any more questions?
I've got one.
Yeah.
When you said that you did the shifts and you went all in, what did that all in look like?
Oh my God, I changed my name. I was like, I am the mindset coach. I was like promoted every day. I talked about it. Like, I'd only just qualified as a NLP master, and people were like, I need to get more clients, I need to get free. I was like, fuck that, I'm going for it. And I went for it, and I promoted it with confidence. I acted like I was the one. Like, other mindset, I was like, there's no other mindset coach in the world. Like, I am the one. Like, and when you come from that energy, it's like people are drawn to it. Like, and you have just that conviction yourself. Like and then I ran my event, and I was like, I'm gonna sell this event out. Like, I know it. And it's like that belief. Oh, I was about to say something rude there. It's unbelievable. Anyway, any more questions? Yeah.
I feel like I've wanted to ask this for a while. You know, with business, right, when you say that you get to like the next goal, you're achieving all these goals because of having an NLP coach, do you feel like as entrepreneurs we kind of but it would be beneficial to have an NLP coach throughout your whole, because you know like when you reach that new goal, it's like, okay, those fears are coming back in, like I've achieved what I've needed to achieve, those fears are coming back in.
Yeah.
I need my NLP coach.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I had an NLP coach for 2 years. Yeah, because when you hit a new level, it triggers a new part of you that you never even know existed. Like, you might now have I didn't know I had a fear of losing it all until I hit that level of X amount per month and X amount of clients, and I was like, oh, geez, guys, if I carry on, I'm going to lose it all, I'm going to be alone, and I'm going to be sad and depressed. Then I was like holding myself back. So yeah, every level, new levels is literally the devil is you. It's the parts of you from childhood that play out in your business. Another one I see that a lot of people don't like to admit, but I feel like a lot of people do struggle with, is victim. You stay stuck, and then you start sitting in this like, oh, nothing's working, everything's working for everyone else. And it's like, there's a victim part of you. You won't inherently have a big victim part of you, else you wouldn't have made it this far if you didn't have a big victim part of you, let's be honest. But I've often seen every entrepreneur does have a tiny little bit of victim part of them. And if your victim part from childhood has learned that when we struggle, we gain attention, when we struggle, we gain love, when we struggle, we gain validation, then if you're growing successful and you have no problems, then who am I without victim? Where do I get my love and my attention from? And you'll hear yourself moaning like, oh, it's so hard, nothing's working, like, and it's just this victim part that's coming in that's like, stay in this level, because if you carry on and you have no problems, well, I don't exist, and then we have no love, we have no attention, we have no validation or support. Obviously we do consciously, but again, it comes from childhood. So yeah. Anything else? I've probably gone over, haven't I? I always go over. Yeah.
You know, when you went through your transformation, I might have missed that part of the talk, apologies. Did you feel like you were repelling some of your inner circle and your existing network with how you're now approaching things in a different way? People who maybe haven't gone through the coaching or the transition?
So when yes, as in, because I wasn't then sitting in victim, I always find that if you've got to really hold a mirror up, and it's hard and it's uncomfortable, but if you sit in victim a lot, for example, you unconsciously will give off that energy through your language, in your stories, through your excuses, whatever. Or if you overgive and you overdeliver, victims thrive off being handheld. So if on your story you're like, you need to invest into yourself to make a change, victims are like, you're basically telling people what they need to do, and victim people love to be told what to do. Whereas if you're more direct online and you're like, right, come on, we're going to move, like, we're going to get through this, victims are repelled by that, because they're like, shit, if I work with her, I'm going to be moved, and I don't want to move. So I always watch is like your language online. This is like, I could go into a whole content session in this, but your whole language online is like, you fix your mindset, you fix everything basically. So yeah, I'd say like you become more confident, you attract people who want that and who respect that and whatever. So yeah. Did everyone understand what I was talking about today? It's obviously a
Yes.
complex topic, isn't it?
I just have one last question, Josh, if you allow me. Try to be correct. We're in the UK. So you talked about that you mainly work with women and that it's easier to practice NLP and identifying those holding patterns, limiting beliefs. What would you say is the reason that it's easier with women, and how can men improve themselves or be more receptive for NLP?
Yeah, for sure. I've worked with men. That was more so at my event, but I think with men, like, obviously I can't talk generally because I'm also not a male myself. I don't truly understand your perception, but with men, like, you've got to be ready and open to the change. But I also think with men, they see one man do it and then they're like, oh, now I can do it. They've got the barrier to entry, and that's why I would love to work with more men. Like, I'm trying to get more men in, and when you get men in, then other men, it's like, you're like flies. But sorry, I forgot your question. What was it? Something about how do you help men to get into
Yeah,
an
so how we as men, because I think we all understand that women are like more emotional beings, and it's easier for them to practice that with. But then, like, how can we as men like be more coachable? Is that maybe more specific?
So actually, yeah, I do understand. So I had a male client, and he grew up told that he would never amount to anything, that his sister will always do better than him, and that you're not good enough. And he genuinely was told that as a child. So now in his adulthood, he sits in victim a lot. He struggles with a lot of self-doubt. So he came into a session and he had a mental block. Like, we sat down, closed his eyes, couldn't go back into it. So instead of going into the block, I was like, okay, what part of you is not allowing me and you to go into this? And it was like the weak part. So we work on, okay, when did you learn that this was weak? We work on that part first, remove that, and then that allows them to go in. Basically, you just hire me and I'll sort it out. But yeah, I got it. Okay, wicked. Thanks.